All right, now let's look at a for loop. So let me open up the default HTML. Let's rename this to for loops, and let me save it as for loops.php. Make sure it's PHP and it's all file types as usual. Save. All right, so what is a for loop? A for loop is a lot like a while loop, but with a major difference. So let's write it like that. Okay, so we have the condition in here as usual, but with an exception. So let's write count is equal to 0, semicolon, and then we say count less than equal to 10 as before, full colon, a semicolon, I mean, count plus plus, close bracket. So what exactly is going on here? The first segment of this is where we initialize count. Remember, in the while loop we had to do this on the top here because the while loop doesn't provide for this, but in this case the for loop is self-contained, so the count must be added at the beginning. The second part is the condition. So as long as this condition evaluates to either true or false, it's valid. So in this case, count less than or equal to 10 will evaluate to either true or false, depending on what the value of count is. Then at the end, this is a very important part, is the count plus plus. This ensures that the count is being incremented and we avoid an infinite loop. So this count doesn't have to be count. You can name it any variable. Let's name it I, for example. Excuse me. So in this case, it's I is equal to 0, I less than or equal to 10, I plus plus. Same exact thing. So let's use count for now, since we're used to that already. So in this, let me add my statement and say echo count. Let me concatenate the break tag. So we have a line break after every number. All right. So let's try and run this in Firefox, shall we? Okay, I'll close these others. So make sure your Apache is running, otherwise the PHP won't evaluate. And let's change that part to localhost. There we go. So we have exactly as before a working loop that shows us the number of count, the value of count each time through the loop. Okay. So we could still add if statements in here. Let's say if count is equal to 6, for example, we have a condition there, or else we have another condition there. So let me just indent these and let me put this one there. Let's, oh sorry, let me copy that and paste it there. So in this case, if count is equal to 6, I want it to show a literal 6, a text version of 6. Okay, so let's see how that works out. And you see it working just like in the while loop as expected. Okay, now there's one more command you could use that's useful. It's called continue. Okay, so what continue does is it resets the loop. If this is running, and then it gets to continue, this takes it back to the top of the loop and ignores everything after. So in this case, this echo 6 will never actually get executed, because every time it gets here, continue will set it back to the top and increment count. So in other words, the loop will just continue running. It will omit everything after this and just go back as if it went to the end of the loop. So let's see how this translates. So as you can see, number 6 is now missing because there's a continue up there. So you can have several if-else statements here, and then one of them evaluates to something that requires a continue. Okay. All right. So I think that's about it for loops. Loops are very, very useful, and you can't actually do without loops, because there are certain instances you have to print a lot of information at once, so you have to use the loops to do this. So for example, writing 1 up to 10 looks like a very easy thing to do, but what if you have to write to 1,000 or 10,000? Then it becomes a problem, and you see that a loop is actually very useful. So let me remove the if statement in here and give you an example of this. So let me say 100. Let me just add up to 100 and let me refresh that, and you see within a second I have numbers up to 100 like that. See how useful that is? I could go to 1,000 for example, and these machines are really fast. So this takes a second to do, and I have numbers up to 1,000. See that? Imagine how long this would take you to type by hand. So loops are super useful in these cases. So that's about for loops, and I'll see you in the next video.